You didn't ever have to settle for less than you deserve. Commune with him and sit still with him and talk to him and seek him and say, God, why did you create me not to settle? Why am I still single? What are you teaching me in this single season? Why do I have things going on? See, this is so important that we get to a point in our spiritual relationship with our Creator, our Father, that we get to a point where we can really ask real questions about who we are and why we refuse to settle. Because sometimes people want to make you feel bad because you didn't settle. As a woman of God, sometimes we are confronted with options. And we have been oftentimes conditioned to settle. And when you began to really acknowledge the value that you bring to an experience, who you are in God, things began to change. But that doesn't mean, okay, that you don't have the same options, the same pressure, hear the same things sometimes from people, even sometimes from the enemy in our mind, trying to get us to compromise our stand and who we are and begin to settle. You know, a lot of times people talk, about how we should just pretty much take what we can get as women. And I want to encourage you today that if God put something in your heart, first of all, if you have a burning desire for something and you feel something and you know that you're meant to do it, then you have to obey God in the midst of nothing going on and know that his will for your life will be done. That's why faith is so important, because when you learn to harness your faith, it will begin to materialize and reflect back to you in physical matter, an outward expression of physical manifestation. Don't settle. You shouldn't have to settle for what you know that you sincerely deserve. When I look at things when it comes to a woman, what I can say that I have observed is so many people have so much to say about us as women, particularly a man, period. What we should wear, how we should speak, what we're allowed to do, what we're allowed not to do. And it just goes on and on. They set a standard of what beauty is throughout the world, but we're women. So we set our own rules. We comply with what God says about us. We set the tone about what beauty is for us, because we know that it begins on the inside of us. Because no matter how beautiful you are today, in 80 years, it will all fade. But it is the inside, it's the spiritual part of you, the soft, subtle, heavily connected version of you that's connected to God to make you beautiful forever and eternally, no matter what is going on in this world. And I want to convince you not to settle. I want to convince you to get out of toxic relationships with men. I want to convince you to stop allowing feminine men to have a shot at you. I want to convince you to save your body for the man that God created for you. I want to convince you to do the dirty, hard work that you have to do in order to break free from spiritual soul ties. I want to convince you to learn the psychology of men so that you can understand how to spot a loser, okay? To spot a monster. I want to encourage you to learn more about you and what you like, what you desire, what you feel, what you want to create, what makes you happy for real, for real. What do you wrestle with? What are some of the things that kind of keeps you in a loop where you continue to experience the same things, not only in the body of a relationship, but on your job and other relationships where it's like a girlfriend group or whatever it may be, whatever the challenge is, I want you to know today that it is okay. And you don't have to settle for anything because you deserve the best things. You deserve the best things. I want to speak to some woman today, some fearless woman today, to encourage you, to let you know that you are indeed worthy of God's best for you. And I don't want you to be over involved or seduced with what you can see and what you hear into putting men on pedestals. I want you to understand to exalt the Lord, to really lean into that connection, to really commune with Him and sit still with Him and talk to Him and seek Him and say, God, why did you create me not to settle? Why am I still single? What are you teaching me in this single season? Why do I have things going on? See, this is so important that we get to a point in our spiritual relationship with our Creator, our Father, that we get to a point where we can really ask real questions about who we are and why we refuse to settle. Because sometimes people want to make you feel bad because you didn't settle. They want to make you feel like something is wrong with you because you have a self-esteem. They want you to kind of water yourself down because you have a spiritual intensity and you got it going on. They want you to kind of fall back out of you to make them happy. And I want to encourage you to continue to be who you are, continue to water yourself with the word of God, continue to speak life into dead things, continue to know that you are worthy and deserving of the best that God has for you. Don't look for it on the outside, baby. Water it on the inside. Don't seek it on the outside. Seek it from God. You are so very fearless and extraordinary that the devil wants to get your mind off of you and what you are here to do and what God created you to do. And he wants to put your mind on some man, or he wants to put your mind on some foolishness, or he wants you to just anchor yourself and trying to prove yourself to somebody when the only thing you have to do is take a breath, relax, align with God, keep that communication line open, water yourself on the inside with the very essence of God and His Word, and really begin to ask yourself questions about what you truly desire in your life, regardless of your age. You should never, ever, what anyone says, you should never, ever settle or compromise when you know exactly what you deserve, because you're fearless, you are extraordinary, and you are unstoppable. Have a good day.